While Cowboy Bebop has aged well, an integral part of the series often goes without notice. In 2001, when key members of Sunrise had left to create Studio Bones, a surprising turn of events led to them picking a production for a follow-up to the series, it being a movie which will go on to be titled Cowboy Bebop Knockin' on Heaven's Door. It's gone on to be considered by a decent portion of the fanbase as the best part of the entire series, having a more streamlined story accompanied by highlights only moments within its 2-hour runtime. So what makes the Cowboy Bebop movie so great? Well, rather than being a continuation to an already poetic end, it served as an extra mission for the cast, not taking away from the last moments the Bebop crew experienced as Spike went to confront his past, instead giving the audience what they actually wanted more of, spending time with the entire crew on one last session, fitting neatly in between episodes 22 and 23. On this extra mission, they go after a man named Vincent, a terrorist aiming to unleash a bioweapon on Mars, along with an interesting tie-in from Inspector Elektra who has a connection to Vincent. This, like other Bebop ventures, getting wrapped up in something much larger than a bounty hunter is to be concerned with. Along with most of the people that made Bebop great to begin with, came along the original voice actors to reprise their roles, not breaking from the perfect voice acting of the original, as well as recruiting veterans for the new characters that played well with the already established actors. He also retained composer Yoko Kano, writer Keiko Nobumoto, and character designer Toshihiro Kawamoto. With the right crew cast and idea, all that was left was to produce a good movie. While the movie began production not too long after the original series, most of the crew had already taken up a number of other projects, the entertainment industry not stopping for anyone or anything. Watanabe would even go on to say that Kawamoto, who had designed the original cast, had forgotten the Bebop style as he had been working on more realistic characters. This created a dynamic that continued from the original production, prior mentioned writer Keiko dubbing it freewheeling. The reason Bebop is in the title of the show and film is that I wanted it to be a project that let each other staff member ad-lib. So were they able to make a good movie? Well, if you've seen it, it starts with one of the greatest action openings of all time, introducing the characters even if you are unfamiliar with them, through a perfectly blended mix of comedy, action, and cinematography. A scene that even Jackie Chan would be proud of, this only to be followed by a title card sequence which is iconic in itself. In terms of creating a hook, they definitely understood the assignment, creating what might be the epitome of the sweeter aspects of Bebop and having an intro that rivals the original iconic opening. Following the opening, the Bebop crew goes on their own path, an aspect of the show that lets you see different aspects of the cast, letting you spend time with them in a variety of environments, interacting with all sorts of different people and scenarios, this allowing a more vulnerable portrayal and an easier path for the audience to establish a connection. It allows the movie to run longer than the typical self-contained story while also not going out of place, fitting the dysfunctional crew's dynamic well, their individual journeys producing memorable and charming moments on their own. This movie possibly best representing what made Bebop so great to begin with, relaying the chaotic but collaborative driven approach of its production. The movie carrying on the torch from the original, its characters coming together in the end all having a role to play during the climax. Diversity of thought and people played a large part in Cowboy Bebop's production and success, Shinichirō himself funding a diverse extended cast for the movie. We wanted to create a society where various religions and cultures are integrated, so therefore it was natural to portray various characters and ethnicities, Kawamoto said. The movie goes on to feel similar to the series itself, but brought to a larger screen. The subtle character designs and movements fleshed out and given a complementary color direction. Kawamoto in particular was challenged to have both a fresh take while maintaining consistency as it's placed between episode 22 and 23 on the timeline. I started with the designs of Vincent and Elektra, the new characters in the movie. I had meetings with the director and simply drew them following the same procedure as the TV series. For the movie, I was told the images of a specific actor. The keyword for Vincent was a saint-like devil, so I imagined him to wear a Christ-like aura with a diabolical heart. I made some adjustments to fit him into the Bebop style. Vincent Gallo was the reference for the villain Vincent, while another American actor, Gina Gershon, was a reference for Elektra. Because the request was a woman of mixed race with a slightly dark complexion who is strong and cool. We did end up getting that in the movie. A lot of it, if not most of the characters, had real people as their references, allowing it to feel more real than what you would typically experience. Watanabe and crew embracing the realism rather than chasing hyper-stylization. It was one of the biggest issues with the medium, and he had opted for a more grounded, raw approach instead. This playing well into Kawamoto's designs, as he had just come off a project asking him to draw more realistic characters. The movie's cel-shaded quality, giving it a more cinematic tone with darker shadows and a film-like bolo bead laced over top, making it feel more like a legitimate piece of cinema and elevating it above its peers. Their earnest attempt at creating a feature film not escaping them, creating something relatively daring and interesting rather than just another episode of the show. The director himself stating, "I wanted to make a film that people who just happened to be in a movie theater would find interesting. It's not that I wanted to do a film that is a continuation of the TV series. I want you to think of the movie version as an independent work." The villain who had been created prior in Elektra ended up playing particularly well off Spike, Elektra being noted to be quote-unquote vulnerable only with Spike. With the villain in Elektra playing well off Spike, he of course has a lion's share of the best moments throughout the movie, whether it be the intro, the entire train sequence, or his brief fight with Elektra. Though even with those action-packed moments, there's subtle beauty in design to some of the more simple aspects. The team was fascinated with the idea of visiting Morocco and wanted to incorporate aspects from the Arab world. You can see this in the storyboarding for this mesmerizing sequence. In the end, Cowboy Bebop Knockin' on Heaven's Door is not merely a nostalgic return to the show, but a resounding testament and heartfelt tribute to the very essence that made it a masterpiece from the beginning. With its seamless blend of stunning animation, gripping storytelling, unforgettable characters, and a mesmerizing jazz and view soundtrack, the film encapsulates the spirit and soul of the original series. It not only reaffirms the timeless appeal of Cowboy Bebop, but also solidifies its status as a cultural phenomenon that continues to captivate and inspire audiences worldwide. As the credits roll, one cannot help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for this cinematic gem that honors the legacy of Cowboy Bebop and rekindles our love for the boundless wonders of the space western genre. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel. We already made a video on Vanilla Sky, so if you're interested in that, check that out. We have plenty more coming covering various topics across the media. Let us know what you thought of the video and what you would like us to talk about in future videos in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.